Hello and welcome to the Yarnings Podcast. I'm Christine and I'll be your host. This is episode 49. I'm calling it Stash Busting. Today is Tuesday, March 3rd. It is 54 degrees and the pink tree behind you guys is getting even more bright pink every day. The skies are blue, I can hear people mowing their lawns in the background, and it's a lovely early spring for us still. We did have some rain here and there, but it still stayed pretty nice. So I would like to welcome new and returning viewers. I want to say listeners. That was how I used to say it. Maybe you are listening, though. I know there are some people that like videos, but they listen to the most parts of it and just glance when they have a chance, and I definitely do that with some of the ones that I watch while I'm doing other things. I am coming to you from Vancouver, Washington, and we had a bunch of people introduce themselves since the last time I told you their names, and so I'd like to do that today on the show. So we have Irish Gemini, her name is Jenny. KHG Knits is Katie. Fiber GL is Rowena, or Fiber Gal maybe. Chevy 49 Girl is Kim, and I follow her on Instagram too. Farmagarumi is Mary. I loved that name, but I was practicing to make sure I could say it properly. She's a pharmacist. Farmagarumi. Bybilla is Brigitte. I don't know if that's how you say it. And Nellie Fenwick. And To Be Anna B. So welcome, you guys. Thanks so much for introducing yourselves. I really love getting to see the names of the people that are coming and watching the show. We really are getting a nice group of watchers, and I'm so pleased. I can see the reflection back here of my iPad while it is telling me things. We don't need those notifications right now. Thank you, iPad. In fact, there we go. The phone is on Do Not Disturb as well. Did you know you can do that? If you pull the little display up, there's this little moon symbol, and when you turn it on, it's Do Not Disturb. There you go. It just means it won't vibrate for me while I'm talking to you guys. I feel a little distracted today. I started my introduction a couple times the first time I realized I hadn't talked all day, and so my voice didn't come out correctly. And I usually try and just go in one take, but today my head wasn't having any of it. So I will try to be less distracted. Let's move into some life stories. So this has been a week of some extra soreness. That's just one of those things I deal with fibromyalgia, and I'm trying to power through and do all the fun things to rest my body and give myself grace when I can't do all the things I'd like to do. Eric came back Tuesday night when I was recording for you guys last time. He was on his way home and he made it back, and that was very, very good. It was nice to have him home again, and he got better from being sick, and we had a nice weekend together this last weekend. On Thursday, I had a really good mail day. I have a prize for you guys, and then I have something that I'll show you in the stash, but I also got a bag from Silver Shed USA. This is a iPad case or small laptop case. It's got all these awesome pockets, and it's got the same fabric, if I can reach, as my Girl Cave bag, but a different color. And it's going to match my Yarn Pop bag, messenger bag back there. It's going to go really nice with that, with all the pinks and greens and whites. So I'm really excited about that. This will be traveling with me on upcoming journeys and probably library days and that kind of stuff. So it was a very nice mail day to get some yarn and a prize for you guys and something for me. And it was exciting that all those things showed up at the same time when I had ordered them at very different times. I don't think I have any other fun life stories to tell you guys about, but I will scatter them throughout if I think of them. So let's move into yarnings and adventures in knitting. Once again, 2 weeks in a row, no finished objects. I've been plugging away on all the things I've been working on, and that's okay too. All right, so I will put that down and show you in order again. This is my Spirited Cloud cardi. This is the Spirited pattern by Elena Nodal. I am getting further along. I stopped in the middle of a row apparently. You can see how much farther I am by the length under the sleeves. I need to get to 14 inches until I do the next shaping, and I'm not there yet. It's coming along nicely. I love doing the back shaping. So there's just very subtle, I don't even think you're going to be able to see it. It's hard to show, but there is some very subtle back shaping in there, but it gives me a little bit of progress to watch. I can see, oh yeah, every 6 rows I've added, there we go, you can kind of see the line that it's centered on there. I can kind of keep track of where I'm at, and I think I may have done, I think I have one more increase to go. So that is coming along, and I worked on it some last night, so I will keep plugging away on that. Oops, that was all of my notes. I also have, okay, my Novum, which I was working on at the beginning, and look at all the pink. So I have 8 rows of pink that have been added on here. You can see I finished the gray. I think I was, when I would talk to you guys last, I was still doing the gray, and I counted how many stitches there are between stitch markers. So the 6 points, here's a stitch marker and here's a stitch marker, and multiplied it out based on how many I started with for the center. And at that point, I think that was like the first row of pink, I had 1,090 stitches on the needles. So that is growing with every row, or every other row I increase twice on either side of each, on each stitch marker. So it is growing, and it will continue to grow. It really felt like I made a lot of good progress on this over the weekend, but when I look at it, it's only like, it's not even an inch. So again, I'm just plugging away on all this lace weight, and I am really enjoying this. Oh, I just thought of something that totally isn't on my show notes. We're going to add that so I don't forget. See, there goes the brain. Thinking. So, this is getting a little big to carry around is the only problem with it now. And so that means that I have less opportunity to work on it if I don't carry it around. So I have to decide, is it too big to carry around, or shall I carry it around a little longer so that I can get more work on it? Depends on how far I'm going with it, I guess. Carrying it all is getting heavy. But I am loving it because it's so easy. And then we've got socks. Oh my goodness. These are the bases for my new lights. I now have 2 lights above and 3 lights back on the grid wall. I had 3 there and I'd moved 1. So now I have 2 more that are hanging. So I'm hoping that will give us just a little better a little better array of light from all the different places. I've got indirect lighting, I've got direct lighting, so just trying to make this as well lit and comfortable of a place for me to enjoy and for you to see. Let me show you the socks before I made such a loud noise there. These are the new growth socks. I don't remember where I was when I showed you guys last week, but I didn't get very much done on them. They seem awfully big, but I tried them on and they fit. So I think it's just an optical illusion. But this is Blue Moon Fiber Arts Sucks Rock lightweight in a Millend or Rare Gem colorway without a name. The Nuvum is out of Knit Picks Shadow in 3 colors. It'll be 4 colors. The cardigan is Bumble Birch Cocoon, and I plan to see some of Bumble Birch's yarn this weekend. Let's just talk about that right now. No, one more thing. And then I am knitting on a design sample for one of my upcoming designs. I showed you guys the yarn last week. I am getting very close to being done, hoping to use a little bit more yarn on this one than I did the previous design sample. So that is coming along wonderfully, and that is actually what I spent most of my knitting time on this week, which is a very worthy endeavor. If it means getting a new pattern out, I think that means the other things don't have to be knit on quite as fast. So the fun thing that I have going on this week is Rose City Yarn Crawl. And they've been doing this for a while. They called it Portland Yarn Crawl initially, and then changed it when new organizers came in. And it is a set of stores. Where's my piece of paper? This year, there are 15 stores that are all part of the Yarn Crawl. And the theory is you go to each store, check them all out, they stamp your passport, and you get entered in for a prize. Even if you don't go to all the stores, you sign in at each store and you get entered for that store's prize. One year, me and some of my local knitting friends did make it to all the stores. This year I'm not going to. I'm going to try and go on public transit, so that means I have a little less option for how many of them I can get to in a day's time. I could try and go to all of them if I were to make it in a couple days, but I think that I would just like to see the stores that I really love, and that will make it fun for me. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then possibly 6 and 7 that I'll do with Eric on Sunday. So that will be a lovely opportunity for me to go see some of the local independent yarnies that dye their yarn locally and sell them at the stores, because there's a lot of trunk shows going on. And so I think that I will get to see Sarah from Bumble Birch, my spirited Cardi over there's her yarn, and probably Stefania from Three Fates Yarn. If I'm lucky, it'd be cool to run into Melanie from Black Trillium, but I don't think I'm going to be going a day that she has a trunk show. Pearl Fiber Arts always has Alexandra's yarn. So there's a bunch of, and Blue Moon. They'll have a Blue Moon trunk show at Twisted. So there's awesome yarn companies, yarn dyers, and tools like shawl pins. I lost one of my shawl pins, my Plover design one, and so I want to look for one of those. And maybe some fun gifts for some friends. So I am excited about trying that. I have not tried to make it to a couple of these stores on the bus before, so that will be an exciting thing. And if you follow me along on Instagram, you'll probably see a lot of posts on Friday while I'm working on that. So that was what I was thinking about my Nuvum. I'm not sure if I want to carry it around because I won't want to carry so much, but we'll see. I'm still kind of debating which way I want to go with that, because it is such perfect pick up and go knitting, but it is getting big. My socks would also work for that. But if I knit on them a lot, then I have to deal with putting in a heel. So, yeah, I might bring both. So, Rose City Yarn Crawl. You will hear a little bit more about my adventures in that next week. My needle adjacent project of my flare still didn't get cast on, but it is green, and I would like to cast it on for St. Patrick's Day, kind of Marchy themed goodness. It's kind of got that nice new growth kind of thing, like my socks. So that's still coming. The stash enhancement that I got this week, we will talk about here in a moment, but let's look at my spinning. I finished one more little mini skein. So I have two now. Aren't they cute? So they are each 4 grams each, about 24 yards according to my Knitting Naughty. And I went searching for, on one of our adventures this weekend, I went searching for a container for my spindle. And we went to the container store and I just wasn't finding anything that was perfect. The one that I have is this, which is just a screw top container, and it works really nicely for my Turkish spindle. It's the right size, it fits in there well with fiber, but it was too short really for fiber and my trindle. So I came home and I tried a few more things around the house, and I found that this shaker bottle without the shaker ball, if I get the hook of the trindle at the right spot, there we go, the hook comes up through the highest spot, it does seal. It's just not wanting to right now. I don't have it at quite the right angle. So I think this might be what I use because it's nice and firm. It's not going to bend in my bag, but I can still fit it inside of one of my purses, my messenger bag or my queen bee bags. And so then I can carry it along with me more places. And it's a little bit smaller than this one. This one's just a little big for sticking in my bag, and it's a little more flexible. So this is less flexible. So that's my spinning. I got the two mini skeins, and I climbed back up on my shelf and found that this is how much of the mixed, I think it's mixed two color BFL, mixed BFL, from Gail's Art, I think. And so that's what I'm spinning. It's pretty rustic, but it's really good for practice. And I started with 50 grams of it. So that'll give me a bunch of little mini skeins. I don't know what I'll do with them. I did weigh my trindle, and it is 5 grams with nothing on it. So my 4 gram skeins, that's about right. You want, what I've always heard is you want about the same quantity of fiber on your spindle as the weight of the spindle. So that's coming out pretty good. So I'm just going to keep practicing on my ply on the fly. I got a little better doing it standing this weekend. My back was really sore, and so I was standing to spin because I couldn't sit down. And if I prop it under my arm, I can do the chain plying. Otherwise, I sit down and I do it between my legs and do it like park and draft. So I'm trying some new stuff, but I'm trying to get faster. So that's been really fun. All right, let's move in to our topic for today, which is stash busting. I wrote a silly title. Do you want to hear my silly title? I was going to write topic of the day, and then I wrote topical. So it's like a topical island. Isn't that silly? That doesn't quite fit with my story themes. My topic for today is stash busting. And I was inspired because I saw Clara Parks on Facebook post a link to her new Craftsy class. And it was so timely that I went and bought it right then. The class is about stash busting, making the most of the yarns that you have. And I love Clara Parks. She is always very informative. I sat by her while she was spinning at Sock Summit, and she just listening to her talk is really interesting. So she seemed like the perfect person to listen to talk about stash. I have quite a stash. So if you are interested in the stash busting class, it is on Craftsy, and if you click through from the Yarnings podcast site, I will get a small commission for sending you there. So I would highly recommend everything that I've listened to so far. I haven't quite watched all of the sections yet, but everything I listened to so far was really interesting. There are also some stash busting projects that she has patterns for. So the stash that I got this week to tie in, this is Twist Fiber Studios, and this is something that I backed with a Kickstarter. It's a little less blue and a little more purple than it's showing up. This is Fairview Fingering in the Pandora colorway. And I am really pleased that I backed this Kickstarter. I have backed a few yarn-related Kickstarters. This one delivered on time, and I am really pleased with this base. I think it's going to make fabulous socks. So it is going right into this section up here, which is all of the sock yarns with nylon. So let's talk about how I organize my stash. This shelf behind you, this is an Expedit. The old IKEA shelves were the Expedits. This is a 5x5 with my desk attached to it. And I'm just going to kind of narrate. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 spots that are actually full of drawers of yarn. Drawers or boxes like this. 2 of them are things that I'm trying to destash. I've had a little bit of success on Ravelry destashing, not a lot. I do have a bunch of stuff up in the for sale or trade section of my stash. So if you want to go check it out, you're welcome to. Don't feel obligated though. I just want them to go to a good home, but I also would like to get back a little bit of the money so that I can use it to buy yarn that I'm really happy with. So I'm not afraid to get rid of the stuff that I really don't enjoy anymore. I have a lot of stuff that I really enjoy though, that will take me a while to knit through it. So watching this class right before I go on the yarn crawl and before I go to a summer event at Zombie Apocalypse is not a bad thing, because I really love the stuff that I have. I have a couple sections here that are stuff that are very timely. There is yarn up here for a sweater for my niece that needs to be done before April. The stuff that's in here are the 3 different sweaters that I want to make next. Although the Japan sleeves will probably wait till next fall. This section up here is my new yarn that I got at Happy Knits. And then I've just got some nice stash sections. I've got worsted weight. I have cotton that's more baby related. I have a cotton that's under the desk. I have old sock yarn that like palette and some multicolor that I'm not so excited about. I have a box of lace weight. There's quite a bit in there, even though I have been using up lace weight this year. I did my Color Affection, which was 3 skeins, and now I'm doing my Novum, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 5 skeins. So that makes me feel pretty good about destashing. Some of the projects that I have done that have been very good for destashing, one of them I'm wearing. This is the Laneway Tunic by Vera Valimaki, and this was all yarn in my stash. This was some discontinued Knit Picks Rosada that I'd gotten at a warehouse sale, and I had planned to make socks with it because I have socks that are this pink color, and I love them. I still wear them all the time. And then when I saw the dress made in 2 colors, I thought I could make something with more than 2 colors and used my rosada. And so I carried this green all the way throughout as the main color. It goes all the way to the bottom. And then I striped in the other colors. I only had 1 skein of the blue. I had 2 of the pink and 2 of the orange. And it was an awesome stash buster. Other great stash busters, I talked about my color affection. Shawls with applied edgings. Did you see me just hit myself in the face with that? Shawls with applied edgings are a great way to stash bust. I wouldn't have had enough of the one color for my Piper's Journey, but when I took the one really vibrant color and the one more subtle color, it really works. For this one, I didn't have quite enough of the main color, even for the chalette, so then I added this little coordinating stripe in there. This is a pattern by Angelia Magar, my friend Angel. What did I call it? It's Roman Laurels is the pattern name. And so those are all really good stash busting things that I have done shawl-wise. I haven't done a lot of stash busting with socks because I have a kind of more specific need for what I want my socks to wear like. But shawls, any of my sock yarn can be shawls. So those are some thoughts on some of my stash. I am pretty happy with how my stash is organized. I was going through a few things this morning and even found a few skeins that were not in my Ravelry stash that I'm going to put up to destash. Something pretty, but it's not something that I really have a good use for. So they need to be photographed, so they're still sitting here. I made a pattern, a design out of 3 skeins of my stash that I've been waiting to think of an idea for. It's not a yarn that is available anymore, so I can't just publish the pattern with that, but it was a good starting place. So look through your stash, see what you got. Do you have it all in Ravelry? I would really love to hear how you guys think about your stashes. This is a great way that the knitting community comes together, is talking about their stash, sharing their stash with others, sharing, passing along. If somebody sends you the end of a skein so that you can finish something, pass that along to somebody else. So those are all some great things that I have been thinking about, and I was really excited for the Craftsy class to kind of spur me along on that. So I would love to hear what you're thinking. Okay. I also queued something this week that I don't have stash for, and I haven't decided if I'm going to look for yarn to buy it yet, but this is the Balinese cardigan by Elizabeth Green Musselman of the Dark Matter Knits podcast, and it is absolutely fabulous. The yarn she did it in is totally my colors, and I love the stitch patterns on it. It is just really beautiful and such a cool use of a gradient yarn and a non-gradient yarn. The bottom of the sweater is regular. Isn't that cool? So this is one that I queued this week. I was also going to show you, now that we're kind of a knitting community, Annetta T made her harmonize. Oh, I didn't show you my harmonize. I haven't worked on it this week. Annetta made her harmonize out of a gradient hand spun. Isn't that amazing? I love it. So yes, we do have 2 knit alongs going on. We have the harmonize knit along, and I didn't even put it on my list today. I don't believe that I worked on it this week. If I did, it was a very small amount. But we have a knit along going on for that. So go and follow along. We have a couple new people that I've seen on Instagram that I haven't put theirs in the thread yet. So I will be really enjoying watching that. We also have conversation knit along, and that's what I'm knitting my Nuvum for, and probably my socks, but and those are just things that you can knit on while you're doing other things, like podcasting. Both of those knit alongs are going through the end of March, so you have plenty of time still to participate. Okay, let's move into some other stuff. Sagas of Geekery. This week I played some more Legendary, I played Castles of Burgundy, and we went to Dice Age, which is our closest local game store, and tried out Among the Stars. That one was a little bit, it was interesting. It was an interesting one to try out, but not one that I want to own. We are getting ready for Game Storm, which is the convention here in Vancouver, in a couple weeks. It's a annual convention. And I found out this week that the Double Clicks, one of my favorite geeky girl duos from sisters from Portland, they are coming to perform again. And so I will be there with bells on. I will be standing in line and knitting and waiting so I can get a good seat to hear them perform. I love them. This week, now watching, and then with also in now playing, I made a list of the 10x10 games that I'm going to be playing for the Fiber and Dice Challenge. I went ahead and made that as a geek list inside of Board Game Geek, so I will link to that in case you're interested. This week in Now Watching, we got caught up with the end of Agent Carter. Fabulous show. I really hope it gets picked up again. And I am almost done with Lost. I think I have 4 episodes left, and the last one is a two-parter, so I will more than likely be done with that this week. For Book of Cooking, I made mac and cheese. I made sandwich cookies, which were chocolate chip peanut butter cookies with vanilla buttercream in the middle. I made heart-shaped pizza finally. We had been putting off our Valentine's treat, and that finally happened on Wednesday. And then last night I made fried chicken soup, which is a curried celery broth, and then you put it on top of chicken pieces, like deli chicken strips and frozen peas, and it is so fabulous. And I made soda bread to go with that. So I have spent a bit of time in the kitchen. We also visited Penzeys, the spice store, which wasn't on my list, so I'm writing it down so I remember to link it. We went to the spice store and got a lot of new spices. So that's going to be super fun to organize. I have a very nice spice drawer, so I'll have to take some pictures and show you before and after. For Fanciful Chatter, Christine's Closet, I rearranged my earrings. I have needed some sort of storage for my earrings for a while, and I got a few new ones, and so that was getting more necessary, and so I cleared off the top of a shelf so that then I could hang them from the underneath portion of the shelf. There's a picture of that on my Instagram if you'd like to see. I also read some about capsule wardrobes this week, and the idea of having basic pieces that you can mix and match. And I do that to a certain extent, and I'd like to look into it a little bit more. I think that I don't have quite as many quality pieces, and so then I have to keep buying the less quality pieces. And so that's something to think about as I make more close purchases. Do I want to just get things from Old Navy that are very, very inexpensive, or do I want to go and invest in some more quality pieces? It's definitely a thing to consider. For Happiness Continues, the thing that I am most excited about was a weekend spent with Eric. After he was gone the previous weekend, it was very nice to have him home, and we spent a lovely day together on Saturday. We went to IKEA and got the new lights for this room. We went to the spice store. We went to the container store trying to find a container for my spindle, and just did some other fun things intermixed with that. So it was a really good day, and we got to eat together, and it was just very happy making. Okay, so I think that's going to cover it for today. I know I did those last segments a little bit speedier, but since I spent a little extra time on the stash busting, I think that will do it for this week. So let me tell you how you can find me on the internet. I am Christine with a K on Ravelry. I am KDLB, just the letters, on Instagram. You can find the Yarnings podcast group on Ravelry and join in on the discussions there. And the show notes with links to everything that I talked about today are on yarningspodcast.com. Okay, guys, thanks for visiting with me, and I'll see you again next week. Bye. That's the story.